are about to go into Sainsbury's and see if they have any food left. So come with us and we will find out. Wow, everything is gone.
March 2020.
Panic buying.
As news of a deadly pandemic spreads, shoppers start to stockpile ahead of the coming lockdown.
No pasta. Here was full of pasta.
I'm just gonna see if there's any bread.
As soon as we saw the barren, empty shelves, it created a domino effect. Panic buying was done with the reaction that actually, I don't think it's going to be a problem, but now I've seen the empty shelves, I think it actually is a problem.
I've never seen anything like this in my whole entire life. There was a queue all the way from there to there.
In 4 weeks leading up to the middle of March, we spent £2 billion clearing supermarket shelves.
Chips, no more.
Sales of toilet paper and UHT milk nearly doubled. Pasta was up 74%.
Pasta cleaned up.
Sainsbury's bosses had never seen anything like it before.
This looks like Piccadilly Circus instead of Sainsbury's.
Every single day was like the biggest day before Christmas. But, of course, you have a year to prepare for Christmas. Supermarkets didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this.
Panic buying really couldn't have come at a worse time for the 150-year-old company. It used to be Britain's biggest supermarket chain, but a series of setbacks meant they'd long lost the top spot to Tesco.
Under attack from all sides and losing market share 18 months ago, they thought they had a route back to former glory. The controversial plan to save the company was to merge with rivals Asda and create a retail giant. Staff were appalled at the idea.
That's just wrong. How can that possibly be the right thing to do? This is a company that people have spent years building up.
The deal would make the new combined company the UK's biggest supermarket chain and knock Tesco off the top. Sainsbury's said it would also mean lower prices and greater choices.
This is great news for customers, it's great news for employees, and it's also great news for shareholders.
2 stores for the price of 1. Rivals wanted the regulator to tell them to bog off. The chief executive went out to make the case, but as he waited to be interviewed, he was caught on camera singing a rather catchy tune.
We're in the money, the sky is sunny. Let's lend it, spend it, send it rolling along.
That isn't a song that you hear on the radio every 5 minutes. That was clearly something that was in his head. And it doesn't matter how you try to dress it up, that's clearly what he was thinking. Goodness knows how the staff must have felt. He was in the money and they were in the opposite.
I really think his credibility from that moment was completely blown. It just seemed the management of Sainsbury were in it for the money. They weren't in it for the good of the shareholder or the good of the customer.
It's unfortunate I was caught singing.
I think he was actually giving away his true feelings, and they caught him.
Maybe it was an unfortunate choice of song.
Sadly for Mike Coop, he wasn't in the money. The merger was blocked by the UK's competition watchdog over fears it would raise prices for consumers.
The deal was rejected simply because they felt that it wasn't going to be fair to the consumer. And they just felt it would crush the spirit out of competition. It was anti-competitive, in fact. That's why.
The deal was off and Sainsbury's plans were in tatters. They needed a new survival plan, and quick.
Instead, further bad news followed. Sainsbury's had taken over Argos 4 years ago and had recently started moving more branches of the online catalogue company in store. They hoped this would help boost their Christmas figures, but the results were disappointing.
Sainsbury's had a really difficult Christmas. They'd underperformed in most business categories. Their profits had dived, so it wasn't a good place to be.
In January, further job losses were announced, adding to plans to close or merge 110 stores. Chief Exec Mike Coop announced that he would stand down in the summer. Sainsbury's seemed in real trouble. When COVID struck, Sainsbury's lived up to its elder statesman reputation, helping bring all the major chains together to reassure the public there was no need to panic buy. Their plan to merge with Asda had been thwarted by the competition regulator, leaving their business strategy in tatters. But the store still had lessons learned through 150 years fighting for market share to draw on.
One of the reasons that I think the supermarkets have coped with this crisis so well is that, on the whole, they're a very efficient industry and a very competitive industry too. A good bit of what's been happening in the crisis is the supermarkets competing with each other to do a better job for customers. They all clearly see that there's an opportunity to emerge from the crisis better and stronger than they were before.
Coronavirus has changed people's shopping habits, and Sainsbury's is now in a better position than for many years to deliver exactly what people want. Queuing to get in means we want everything under one roof, so now we're making fewer visits. But the average size of shopping basket has doubled.
One of the things that Dave Lewis at Tesco commented on was how much today's environment looks like it was maybe 20 years ago. Now, one aspect of that was that we're all doing much bigger shops.
Vulnerable people can't get out to do those bigger shops, and while there's no vaccine for coronavirus, many don't want to, which means more demand online. And giving them an advantage over their new discount rivals, Sainsbury's has a good track record in home delivery.
Sainsbury's have almost doubled the amount of online delivery slots, and that takes some real doing. You've got to consider the operational investment. Online delivery is more complex than it looks. It's got picking and packing, storage of items, it needs drivers, and it also then needs everyone retraining to make sure they are safety aware. That's really impressive on Sainsbury's front.
Tesco stole a march on everyone, expanding from 600,000 online orders a week to 1.2 million. However, Sainsbury's were also able to vastly increase their home delivery. The problem is that in the short term, the extra overheads involved in picking and delivery mean it's hard to make money through online.
Sainsbury's haven't made any money out of the crisis. They actually reported that there's £500 million of additional costs in security and staff sickness. Now, the issue wasn't for Sainsbury's to make money. Their initiatives that they had set in place was to feed the nation.
The pandemic cost Sainsbury's a lot of money, and in the coming months it faces further challenges. In the battle for the middle-class posh-nosh, M&S is upping its game with more food-only outlets opening, and a new home delivery service through Ocado is due online in September. However, for the first time in years, Sainsbury's can face these challenges with optimism.
This battle of the middle market that's ahead, which will see Marks & Spencer's finally be able to get online deliveries for its food shopping, it's just going to be interesting to watch. I think there's a chance that Sainsbury's has brought new customers to its door. They will have won over fans in this time because of the way it's behaved. Marks & Spencer's just not been able to get that traction. Whereas Marks & Spencer's announcement and launch to online food delivery would have been significant to all the supermarkets, it might not have the same hit it once would.
And while customers with money now have even more choice, many predict the real winners in the coming supermarket wars will be those who can best adapt to the looming economic challenges ordinary people will face post-COVID. That means providing value for money.
I worked for Sainsbury's for 10 years. It is already a fantastic value for money supermarket. It's a misunderstanding, if you like, to think of Sainsbury's as only serving people with a lot more money. I think the success of retailers going forward will be much more about how they make sure the customers they've already got are well served, and if they've got new customers as a result of the crisis, that they hold on to them.
Had their proposed merger with Asda gone through, their combined might would have put Sainsbury's in pole position. But despite his failure to deliver on his big plan, outgoing Chief Executive Mike Coops strived to make the store more efficient, and integrating Argos has improved the company's online offer.